Cass Mystery presents. Despite the explosion of cameras in every pocket and drones zipping through the skies, the mystery of UFOs refuses to die. In fact, the more we learn, the less we seem to understand. Welcome to Cass Mystery. Today, we dive into the Enigmas Above, Unsolved UFO Encounters, a deep look into aerial phenomena that defied logic, challenged governments, and left behind far more questions than answers. It was the summer of 1947 when commercial pilot Richard Calhoun reported seeing a chain of 9 shimmering discs darting across the skies near Mount Elwood in Oregon. He estimated they moved at over 1,200 miles per hour, an absurd speed for any aircraft at the time. His description, like saucers skipping over water, unwittingly coined the term flying saucers. At first, Calhoun's claims were met with polite skepticism, but within weeks, over 700 similar sightings were reported across the United States and Canada, including strange metallic crafts, lights performing impossible maneuvers, and bizarre formations hovering silently over rural towns. One particularly high-profile event unfolded near the small town of Pine Ridge, Wyoming, where townsfolk witnessed an entire cluster of lights executing sharp, synchronized turns in complete silence. The U.S. military scrambled to investigate. Behind closed doors, the U.S. Air Force initiated a secret study dubbed Project Eclipse, which sought to determine whether these unidentified flying objects were domestic experimental aircraft, foreign threats, or something else entirely. By late 1948, analysts hit a wall. While the majority of cases were explainable, stars, balloons, illusions, a small batch couldn't be debunked. These were classified as the unknowns. Military pilots, radar operators, and engineers all confirmed seeing objects that outmaneuvered every known aircraft, accelerated to impossible speeds, or performed vertical ascents from a dead hover. The internal report floated the idea: could they be extraterrestrial? But once this reached top brass at the Pentagon, the theory was promptly buried. Project Eclipse was shut down. Its replacement, Project Vantage, was less about discovery and more about containment. One of the most fascinating and underreported cases happened on May 12, 1949, near Starglen River, Idaho. A group of 7 engineers from an aeronautics lab were fishing when they spotted a round, gleaming object hovering nearly 5,000 feet above them. One of them had brought a field telescope. Through the lens, they described a metallic disc about 35 feet across, with a central dome and a dull silver finish, smudged and scorched. The craft lacked wings, rotors, or any visible propulsion system. After a minute of silence, it zipped across the sky and vanished within seconds. No sound, no sonic boom. What made this incident credible was that none of the men went to the press. It wasn't until decades later that declassified notes from Project Vantage revealed their interviews and sketches. The conclusion? Likely atmospheric interference or misidentified aircraft. But the engineers had launched the only weather balloon in the area that morning, and it was still in sight during the encounter. Perhaps the most infamous series of sightings happened not in the woods or the desert, but over Columbia City, the nation's capital, in the summer of 1953. Just past midnight on July 22nd, radar stations began picking up erratic signals. Clusters of objects that appeared, vanished, and reappeared on multiple radar systems across 3 different airports. Moments later, glowing orbs were spotted hovering above government buildings, including the Presidential Palace and Congressional Hall. Witnesses included commercial pilots, military personnel, and traffic control officers. One Air Force pilot pursued a light for nearly 10 minutes, reporting that it veered away at impossible speeds, later estimated to be over 11,000 kilometers per hour. Fighter jets were deployed. The orbs vanished instantly. When asked to explain, the military blamed temperature inversions. The Weather Bureau disagreed. And so did all the radar operators. Fast forward to April 17, 1962, in the desert outskirts of Las Moras, New Mexico. Police officer Daniel Romero was chasing a reckless driver when he saw a flash of fire in the sky and heard a loud, low-frequency hum. He abandoned the pursuit to investigate. There, nestled in the scrublands, was a white, egg-shaped craft resting on metallic legs. 2 figures in white suits stood nearby. When they noticed Romero, they vanished behind the craft. Moments later, the craft emitted a blue-orange flame and lifted off with terrifying force. Other civilians later reported seeing the object in the sky, including a farmer who saw Romero's patrol car speeding toward the site. The FBI and Air Force were on the scene within hours. Burnt brush, wedge-shaped landing impressions. Radioactive readings, negative. Romero, described by his colleagues as no-nonsense and grounded, never changed his story, never sought fame, and passed away decades later, still insisting it happened. So where does that leave us? The original head of Project Vantage, Captain Harold Deacon, wrote in his memoir, "Our job changed. We weren't tasked with discovering the truth. We were instructed to filter, to downplay, and to explain what could not be explained." He hinted at pressure from higher-ups, calls from Pentagon officials, strange omissions in reports, and a growing sense that the truth wasn't to be found, but buried. Today, UFOs, now rebranded as UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, remain a topic of renewed attention. Governments are reluctantly acknowledging their existence, yet offering little clarity. With deepfake technology, CGI, and drones muddying the waters, even genuine encounters now drown in skepticism. In an age where we can map every inch of Mars, why do our own skies still hold secrets? Are we simply chasing shadows or ignoring the light? If you enjoyed this mystery, don't forget to subscribe to Cass Mystery for more chilling tales from the edge of the unknown. Until next time, keep your eyes on the skies.